I have no idea if this is connected or not. Oh my goodness. Mm-mm-mm. Maybe it is. Dude, why am I having such a hard time with the live all of a sudden? Okay, I think it's connected. Hey guys, okay, yes, it is connected. I'm so glad. Hey guys, I wanted to, honestly, it was just like a last minute decision. I wanted to come on here and chat with you guys because I want to get everyone's thoughts on the port strike. I have been reading so much about it lately, and after my last video, I realized there are a lot of different opinions. And of course, I'm here to answer questions if there are any. Thank you very much. I do not have a business card, no. October 1st, that's when the planned port strike is. That's right. The reason I'm um the reason I'm asking you guys for your opinions on the port strike is because there are a lot of things at play, right? We have election year and we have an impossible situation right now. And I just want to hear your opinions because I already shared my opinion of what will happen if the port strike happens. But then I started hearing a lot of opinions about how this could actually benefit trucking. And I guess a lot of folks think that it could benefit trucking in the sense that it would drive capacity out quicker because of the lack of freight and because of the crash that could happen. Am I understanding that correctly? Why no loads today everywhere? Is it related to the strike? I'm not sure. I know that Mondays have been hard for me for the past about 4 months. Mondays and Fridays are the worst. I did end up booking my loads today, but of course, after waiting a while. Yeah. Are you on a reefer dry van? Because again, speaking, and I'm gonna be going back to the sports strike thing because I need feedback from folks who have been in this industry for a while. Opinions, I need those opinions. From everything I have been reading, the port, like there are a lot of things that are going to be affected. It's not just retail, right? It's manufacturing, it's farmers, agriculture. I have read that there is going to be food shipments that are just going to go bad. That's going to possibly hit the small businesses very, very hard. That Pennsylvania is going to be very much affected. Yeah. Thank you very much for the compliments. I appreciate it. Oh, Charles, do you like it? I hope you like the course. Hey guys. I do not have Instagram, no. I used to. I deleted it. Hold on, let me move this a little bit this way. Um, yeah, move this here. Mm, uh, Oh, Jane, you are also on a flatbed. Where were you looking for loads? Because I had two trucks. We just have two trucks at this point. As many of you know, we have downsized like crazy. Just two trucks. I had one in Texas and one in South Dakota. Took me a while to find loads both out of Houston, Texas, and of course out of South Dakota. South Dakota doesn't have much to offer as it is. Steamship companies that own the terminals in the East Coast ports stated that they will redivert all vessels to the non-union ports like Houston, Everglades, and Miami and starve out the unions. Wow. I did not hear about that. The question is, I mean, we're talking about 13 major ports being affected here. And as far as I know, it's something 65,000 workers. The question is, what kind of backlog is it going to create? And are those ports that are not, what is it called? Non-union ports, are they able to handle that kind of volume, or are we going to still see a huge backlog? The major cause of disagreement is the unions want automation out of the ports forever, but the terminal companies are saying no. Yeah, I read that. I read that they want a 77% increase in wages over 6 years, and that they found out about the fact that they are processing trucks without help of union labor, which really, really got under their skin. I did read that. Devang, sorry if I'm mispronouncing. I must have missed your question. What was your question? Where am I based out of? Unfortunately, I'm based out of California. And a lot of people try to hold that against me. But for once and for all, I'm going to say what I wrote to the latest comment about that. There is business, right? California is not good for business. And then there's family. So I'm kind of tied to family. I'm always going to choose family over business. That is why I'm not moving out yet. I will, but not yet. There are many loads today, not sure what people are saying. Yeah, I would say today was not, Arthur, it wasn't anything crazy in terms of a lack of freight. Like after that crazy hack, or what was it? The thing that, like that technology IT thing, after that, there were no loads at all. I don't see that either right now. I mean, it's pretty normal for the new normal, I suppose. Ports in Houston, Everglades, Miami are going to get super busy. Well, in that case, that means there's going to be more volume coming out of those areas. But again, my question is, are those ports prepared to handle 40, like that volume? Because that volume accounts for, as far as I remember, 43% of the total ocean inbound freight volume, those 13 major ports. Do you think the market has already bottomed out, or can it continue to worsen? That is a great question. In general, I think it's bottomed out, and I think that we're kind of bouncing along the bottom. But then again, there are things that happen that are absolutely crazy, that are unexpected, like the port strike, that, in my opinion, could cause a crash in volumes for trucking, both in the short term as well as the long term. Because if like I said in my previous video, if, for example, a manufacturer who relies on those imports doesn't get the raw materials that they need to produce other goods that are then transported by trucks, for example, throughout the US, guess what? The volume is down. Now, could that potentially, excuse me, could that potentially, like some people are saying, cause a situation where capacity is going to start leaving in greater numbers simply because freight rates become really bad because of the capacity or supply and demand problem? Yes, it is possible, but that only signals the fact that it's going to get much worse before it gets better. So that's why I'm here trying to get your opinions about, what do you think, excuse me, this port strike is actually going to do to trucking in the short term as well as the long term? That was a very long-winded answer to a very simple, straightforward question. Um, Arizona, North Carolina, Syracuse, New York are still empty. I haven't been in any of those places, Jane, for a while. Arizona, it has been about a month, I believe, since I was there. North Carolina, about 2 months. And New York, wow, it's been a while. So I don't know. I know that in Pennsylvania, it was pretty hard. And in Pennsylvania, for flatbeds, I noticed that if you do not book a load, like that's the one place you don't get to play the waiting game really, because those loads, there are just no loads after like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock in the morning. local time. We have one truck stuck in North Dakota. Yeah, North Dakota is very, very hard. South Dakota is a little bit easier because of its proximity to Nebraska, and sometimes Iowa for sure. But North Dakota, for the past year, I would say, every time we ended up in North Dakota, I forgot the city, but it was always the one that's close to, I think, Montana. It was close to Montana, to that side. We had to deadhead, a huge deadhead. Hi, David. Um, there are clauses in the contracts that are fail safes to prevent the spoilage of food, etc. Got it. Hi, Abraham. Yeah, my weekend was interesting for sure. I hope you had a great one. um, Charles, so your legal business name, if you have a corporation or an LLC, that would be your business name. You would be one of the, I forgot what they called them. You're an owner or the CEO or whatever title it is, but it would be your business name. Unless you're a sole proprietor without anything, then you can just do a DBA like, I don't know, Charles's trucking company, something like that. Uh, those ports are not going to affect the truckload capacity immediately. They already planned ahead. I agree. I'm just wondering because, again, a lot of people are saying that what's going to happen is yes, the volumes are going to crash down both in the short term and the long term, depending on how long the strike lasts. Thank you so much for the heart, guys. Hearts. I keep seeing these hearts coming up, and I thank you. But yes, I keep seeing that there is pretty much an agreement on the fact that it is going to cause a crash in volumes, depending on how long the port strike lasts, and that crash in volumes is going to drive rates so low that more capacity will be forced to leave the market, which means that in 2025 it's going to get better. This is the kind of thing I keep hearing about. What do you guys think? I have no idea. I don't have an opinion. Hello, is this the right time to start a dispatching business? So I think that a dispatching business is pretty low risk. Like if we're looking at the trucking industry and the different players in trucking, dispatching is pretty low risk. The question is, what kind of competition are you facing and what can you offer that your competitors cannot? Yeah. But in general, dispatching business can be started with things that you already most likely have: a computer, a stable internet connection, a printer. Hopefully you have like some kind of scanner or fax thing on your phone, although that's just like bells and whistles that you don't really need. How many trucks total do you have in your fleet? As I said before, we downsized completely. We have 2 trucks now. Come to Chicago. Funny thing, I have never been to Chicago and I always wanted to go. There are plenty of places I always wanted to go to in the US. In the US, I have been obviously California. I live here. New York. That was for work when I was a recruiter. I had to go to New York. I have been to DC. I have been to Colorado. Yeah, that's it. Still working to get workers' compensation for my drivers. Yeah, we always, when we were hiring drivers, our workman's comp was always through ADP, which also did our payroll. They were kind of hand in hand, and it was through Berkshire. The workers' comp was through Berkshire. Hollywood is going down, though, about time. Yeah. So I've been hearing rumblings. It's funny. As much as I read the news about politics, political news, of course, I just don't talk about it here. I always read the political news. I read a lot about, obviously, trucking and the economy. The one thing I don't really keep up to date with is the kind of the Hollywood, all of those things. But I did hear what's happening, sort of. And it seems like what do they call it? An October surprise? What does October surprise mean, guys? I keep hearing October surprise, and I feel like there are a lot of surprises that are coming in October. I don't even know what that means. Um, yeah, think back when the ports in California 2 years ago. Yep. Um, if the Florida ports start getting more volume, these brokers are going to have to do an about face on the Florida rates. Highlight getting out of there for decent money. So, yeah, I mean, I guess that if they start rerouting some of the vessels, again, I have a very big question mark when it comes to the volume. Are these ports going to be able to have the volume? But it's possible that places that did not have a ton of freight volume before are going to have more of it, therefore driving rates up. Yeah, I can see that happening. Heard today $100 in California is equal to $87. And here in California, $100 is like $10. Yeah, the cost of living in California is absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Um, to answer your question about those ports, 3 ports handling the influx, probably not, but they can do their best. I think those ports are very efficient in general. In Houston, a driver can get it. Uh-huh. Got it. So, yeah, for sure that's going to soften the blow. If other ports are willing to take on at least a fraction of the loads, that is going to soften the blow of what could be if there was nowhere to reroute those vessels. And it would increase volumes in those areas, I suppose. I can agree with that. A breakfast burrito and a coffee from a street truck was $26. Yeah. California is expensive. Your channel has been extremely valuable. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Good luck with your CDL school. Um, hello, in your career, is this the worst trucking period? Yes, absolutely. So I started in 2019. That's when we started trucking, and we went directly from not being in trucking to having a trucking company. Interestingly, it taught me a lot for sure. The only thing I can compare what's happening right now is to that period back in April. It wasn't March. It was April of 2020 when one day there were loads and the next day there was nothing and the rates were cut in half. So I remember that time in April. I actually it was just me and one of my family members. That's it. Me dispatching my family member driving, which is pretty much what we have right now. It's just I have 2 business partners driving right now after downsizing. But I remember it got so bad in April that I just told him just come home. That's it. Go home, rest, no need to break your back and spend fuel on trying to make something happen. Yeah, and I remember April, May, in June is when we started feeling like, hey, there's something happening. It's just this period of time is lasting for over 2 years, but it's comparable to that April 2020 when all of the factories and all of the manufacturers and everyone shut down because of COVID, and there was just no volume and a bunch of trucks sitting and waiting for at least something to come out. hmm First 30 days will be great. 31 to 60 will see a deep decline. 61 on will be absolutely devastating. Fatty McButter pants. Love it. So, what do you mean? You mean the port strike? Can you? Because again, I'm very interested in hearing what you guys have to say. What do you mean? Why would it be good in the first 30 days? Why it would be a deep decline after 31 to 60 days? And the rest I completely understand. Devastating. Hi, everyone. It's a hot one today. Weather wise, it's actually not that warm here. It's going to be very warm, either at the end of this week or something. Thank you, Fatty McButterpants. I love your name, your screen name. Thank you, Jane. I hope things get better for you as well. I know we're all struggling through it and just taking it one step at a time. Angelica, hi. What load board would you recommend for box trucks? So I have never worked with box trucks, but I would think that that would be the one for box trucks. I use Truck Stop, and Truck Stop, I have heard about it. I see it as well. It's the load board kind of choice when it comes to flatbeds, open deck trailers. They do have a ton of, I mean, they still have the reefer, and you can still find box truck loads on Truck Stop as well. But I believe most people would say dat, even though I have never worked with box trucks. Um, do you hire dispatchers who want to work remotely? No, I have never hired dispatchers. I don't think I am ever going to hire dispatchers, not because I don't think they can do a good job, but because I try to do everything myself just because of the expense side, right? I don't charge my company anything for back office and dispatching, whereas someone rightly would. Um, Yeah, I agree with you, Arthur. It wouldn't affect capacity like that immediately, but it would eventually affect it. So if the strike threat works and they get what they want, will that affect load rates? No. So what we're talking about is the fact that if the dock workers go out on the streets to strike, basically what you're going to have is a ton of ships and vessels with containers stuck at those ports not being unloaded, which means that manufacturers, retailers, all these folks, right, in the supply chain, they're not getting the materials they need on time. And that, like for manufacturers, as I said before, if they're not getting the raw materials on time, that means they cannot produce what, like the finished product that a truck would then, for example, transport. If the strike is resolved, regardless of how it resolved, of course, the loads are getting unloaded. They're, making their way through the supply chain, crisis averted. I don't even know my feeling about whether, you know what? No, I do. And it's a twofold feeling. On one hand, I'm terrified of the strike because of the possible effects, especially on the trucking industry. But on the other hand, I agree with a lot of people that this is how you get things to change. Yeah. Um, Have I ever dispatched any port work before? No, I have not. I started with reefers, then we were with reefers and dry vans, and then we slowly made our way to open deck trailers and flatbeds in particular. In terms of getting into the transportation industry, nope, it was in 2019 before COVID. Yeah. I'm hearing rates going up because of the ports. See, that's I've heard rumblings of it from some people, and some people are saying no, that's not the case. So yeah, I'd really like to find out. Is that the case or is it not the case? um, if I'm skipping over your question, it's because I answered it already. Sorry. I just want to get to all of them. Thank you, Marcos. I am definitely far from it. Definitely not the smartest girl in the room, but I really appreciate it. I learn from you guys every single day. Like every day, I feel smarter reading the comments because everyone has opinions and experiences that teach me a ton. Been waiting for 2 hours for paperwork. Eesh. And he said, yeah, typical, right? um, mm. Thoughts on the independent contractor law that went into effect? So yeah, I made a video on that. My thoughts on it is that it kills the owner operator model. I understand that it also removes the bad players or makes it more difficult for them, quote unquote, to operate. When I mean in California, they don't really enforce that. AB5 thing. But I understand that part, but in general, I don't like it. I don't like it because the owner operator who wants to, you're your own business person. It's your business. And all of a sudden you have to be an employee. It's just no. Where are you originally from, if you don't mind me asking? I'm half Ukrainian and half Georgian. I do not speak Ukrainian, nor do I speak Georgian. English is my first language. It always has been. Yeah. I was not born in the USA. I was born in Mariupol, Ukraine. As far as I know, it does not exist anymore. Hello. Is it worth to switch a career from truck driver to fleet manager? I don't know the answer to that. It depends. I mean, it depends on you and how you feel when you're driving a truck. I know one of the things that is a blessing and a curse in my case is that we have a family company, and I talk to my guys who my business partners are my family members. So I get to hear the disaster that they go through every single day being in the truck. It's very hard for them to handle. So I have a little bit of a different view than, for example, a hired dispatcher, let's say, right? It depends on you. If it was my business partner asking if they were interested in becoming a fleet manager, I'd say go be a fleet manager, because what's happening right now is this depression that is just it's it depends on you, basically. It depends on how you feel. In terms of money, I'm not sure. If you are a company driver, you're going to be earning probably more than a fleet manager with a good company, if you're a company driver with a good company. Um, Not familiar with hot shots. Not really familiar with hot shots. Um, New here, I have a question. Oh, welcome, Bill. What do you suggest a beginner do to actually start dispatching? All I have is a phone. Do you suggest I start with just the resources I have? Love what you do. If you're actually actively dispatching, you can. I have dispatched trucks over the phone because I have all of those apps, like the Truck Stop app, and you just like, you have the email on it, you have your phone, you have everything. You can. It's just not as comfortable as having a computer. If you have a laptop, a computer of any kind, where you can actually open up several windows so that you are counting miles while looking at the load board, while making calls and writing emails, that would be just easier. But you can, in theory, dispatch just from your phone. Good evening. Could you do a video on big carriers and small carriers and who is the best? Unfortunately, I cannot because I have always worked for my own company, so I would not be able to speak to what other carriers offer. So sadly, the best way to approach this is in the comments, because we have folks here who are really eager to help, lots of different experiences in the trucking industry. And if you have a question about a certain company, they will be able to help you out and tell you their experiences. Something that could change the race for president. You mean the port strike? Yeah, it's an interesting situation. Very interesting situation. Okay, the October surprise is when information comes out in a month of October that can impact the politician negatively. That's okay. Now, thank you, the Solomon Project. I appreciate everyone was talking October surprise, October surprise, and referring to the port strike as an October surprise. I guess that this could potentially be what it means. Thank you for confirming it. I appreciate it. I learned something new today. Um, Let's see. Okay, answered that. Arthur, you keep asking me, Miranda, why don't you just get direct shippers? I remember you from the last live. You keep asking me that, and I keep saying there are two reasons. Number one, we're a very small carrier. Most direct shippers will not even look our way because we're so small. I do have some direct shipper contacts, but we're not in those areas often enough. Number two reason why I'm not upset about the fact that I don't have more direct shippers is because I like keeping my finger on the pulse, which is the spot market, which is real time. It gives me an idea of what is happening, both in the trucking industry as well as the economy. Ta-da! um, do you share what your current cost per mile to run a truck? Yeah, sometimes I talk about it. Right now, I know from the top of my head that one of them is $1.44. The other one, I have no idea. I have to look. But this is because these are my business partners. With hired drivers or hired team members, it was very different, which is why we ended up downsizing. Truckers should start our own strike because of the low rates. Yeah, everyone keeps talking about it. The problem is not enough people either believe or like I'm one of those people. I do think there's something powerful in that. I just don't think it's going to work because the moment a group of people, you won't, I don't see everybody striking. The moment a group of people say, that's it, we're striking, the rates will go up and some jackass is going to start hauling for those high rates. And it's not going to be just one, it's going to be a group. And yeah, this is the problem. First 30 days, companies will be panicked and fight to get the, yeah. Okay, I see what you mean. Agreed. Is not a good time to buy a fair priced used semi truck. Look, right now the truck prices are pretty relatively low. If you're buying it cash, if you're not doing financing, it could be. The one thing I would not recommend from personal experience is to sign yourself up for financing, especially right now. After 30 days, loads will drop massively if the strike continues. Yeah, I can agree with that for sure. Um, sorry, 1 second. I just got a. Oh, I guess I didn't. People watch too much TV. True. How long does it take in California for new IRP account to get the bill and plated? So usually IRP in California, from my experience, they're very slow because as they told me, they have a dinosaur system. I use Road Ready Registration. You can look them up. Road Ready Registration. They do IRP for you if you wish. They do take a fee for it, but it's done within a couple of days. They have some special relationship with the DMV, so it's very, very quick. Road Ready Registration if you need it quicker. Bill, what do you suggest someone do if they're looking for owner operators but don't know where to look? Okay, number one thing that has always worked for me is the truckers report. I love the truckers report. First of all, you're going to get so much information from that forum just because there are so many people who are in this industry talking about their experiences, answering others' questions. Number two, they have this job posting post where you can post your job. I found one of my best team members has come from there, the truckers report. Number two, there is this recruiting system called Transforce One or TF1. I have a video about it somewhere where basically, at least when I used it, it was done in a way where you don't pay for anything until people apply to your job, and they have like a pool pipeline of CDL holders. I don't remember how many. They have a ton of them. You post a job, and those folks get, oops, those, sorry, those folks get a notification that a new job is posted. If they like your job, they apply with their CDL, and the only time you pay, at least that's how it was when I was using it about 2 years ago, 1.5 years ago. You pay only if you want to see their CDL. Number three, Facebook groups. Facebook groups are where I found several, like my um, the last time I hired folks, found them through Facebook groups. I have been lucky for the most part. For the most part, I have been lucky. I had the best team members ever from all those places. Yeah. Based on your experience, how many trucks total do you think you can dispatch? It depends on the person, right? I think for me, because I'm a perfectionist, which is a really bad thing, I'm a perfectionist, and because of my style of working, where I can spend, I mean, easily 6, 7, 8 hours for one truck on the load board waiting for that good load, I think I would not be able to handle more than four. For someone who either has, I don't know, who, for someone else, it might be 10, but I have a very particular way of working. It's like for me, it's quality versus quantity. Hurricane coming to Florida by the end of the week. Get ready. Eek. Who is striking? 13 major ports or the dock workers. Maybe someone here is going to also strike as a, what do they call it? A sympathy strike? um, yeah. Fatty I keep saying McBurger pants, McButter pants. If the strike happens for over 60 days, I have a mosquito flying around for some reason. It will clean up a lot of small companies. It's sad for them. Yeah, it is. It's really sad, especially when this is something unexpected that you weren't planning for. Uh, Faisal, no, I do not have owner operators. My two business partners and myself. So all three of us own the company. We're managing members in the company. We used to hire company drivers, but again, we downsized for the time being. Hey, I got my CDL in July. No one in my class has found a job. Should we look for another line of work? So, Stephen, um, it's Stephen, right? I think it's Stephen. Uh, the problem that you guys are facing right now is insurance. A lot of insurance companies became very picky about who a carrier can and cannot onboard. Progressive is one of those who will accept new CDL holders as long as the company has been or has a DOT that is over 1 years old. That darn mosquito is driving me nuts. Um, yeah, at least in California, this was the case, and I believe in Washington, that's the case. Progressive changes its rules depending on where you're based. Now, a lot of carriers, the reason they're not hiring new CDL holders is because their insurance simply doesn't allow them to, and they are not ready in this market to pay more for the insurance. Some companies, just be careful, there are some shady companies that will say that they are going to insure you and then end up not insuring you. So they tell you you are insured, and in reality, you're driving that truck. And if something, God forbid, happens, they don't have insurance. There are some shady folks like that. Now, best bet from what I know is just to gain some experience. I wouldn't say these are the best companies out there. Huge companies like Knight Swift, I believe, they are self insured, which means they can, and CR England, I believe, they are self insured, so they can afford to take on new folks, like new CDL holders. And that way you can build up your experience and then go from there. Yeah, but they don't pay very well from what I know. Thank you, Kiwi. No, I don't consider my I don't consider myself dumb. It's just the comment was you're the smartest girl in the room. I don't think so. I rarely am because I learned so much from you guys and from people who surround me. Yeah. But no, I don't think I'm dumb. I just think I'm me, I suppose. uh um Do you do your own accounting or you hired someone to do so? So, in general, the bookkeeping I do on my own. Okay, I'm gonna tell you guys the truth of everything. I do the bookkeeping like the day to day I do on my own using Airtable and I invoice using QuickBooks. However, the only class that I got a B in because I have a stick up my butt basically, and I was very competitive in university. The only class that I got a B in and graduated it without understanding anything is accounting. I just don't get it, even though I consider myself a very much a numbers girl. I appreciate logic. I couldn't understand accounting. I didn't understand the reason for balance sheets and cash flow statements and all of this and that. So basically, bookkeeping, I do it in my own way. However, my accountant, I once tried to do it via QuickBooks the right way. And I have an accountant who does my uh, regular taxes, not trucking taxes, regular taxes at the end of the year. And he called me a few months ago and he told me, Miranda, let's agree that you never touch QuickBooks again. So I have both. I do my bookkeeping the way I understand it, which makes sense to me for the industry that I am in. But the official way of doing it, I have a gentleman um, who does it for me for tax purposes. Thank you, Sam. Thank you for being here. Oh, good afternoon. I love your screen name, effing trucking. um, how do you find a good paying load? Simple, make some phone calls. I find good paying freight for the most part anyway, but my way is probably, you know how they say work smarter, not harder? Well, I'm the worst example of that. I will work harder, not smarter. And that's how I find good paying freight on the load board. Um, Thank you, Ahsan. Ahsan? Ahsan. Is truck dispatching a stable career? Do you see it staying relevant for the next 10 years? That's a great question. No, I do not think that dispatching would be a stable career. I think that if automation touches trucking in a big way, dispatching is going to be one of those ways. I was actually talking to my husband a while back when the Tesla Semi was unveiled. And I told him what would be cool is if Elon Musk, I don't know if he did it already, is if in that computer, he had the built-in ELD system and also a load board, which tells you right away when loads come out. This is the best, most efficient load for you. That would be pretty cool. That's what I would do if I was Elon Musk. I would automate everything where you don't even have to search. The system tells you right away that this is the most efficient uh, load based on the fuel prices on the way, based on the market where you're going, based on all of that. That would be pretty awesome. Um, Swift president thinks the market will improve fourth quarter. Thoughts? I think that we might see, although if the port strikes happens, I don't know. But usually fourth quarter is when seasonality, holiday season comes in, and we see some improvement. But what we have is A situation where the market, like recently, there was an article that retail sales are increasing, volumes are increasing, but rates are not seeing any change. And that's because, in my opinion, it's not so much because of new carriers coming in, it's because of the incognito carriers. I like to call them incognito carriers. These are the smart folks who have their stuff paid off and they park while the market is bad and they come in like this when they expect to make some money, which increases capacity, but they go kind of under the radar because they're not a new authority that we can see in the data. So I think, yeah, fourth quarter, not sure. Let's see. Alex, yeah, almost 100K. My son, I don't know, I said it on another live. My son made me promise that the moment that whatever thing, the silver button comes, that he gets to keep it. So he's counting every day. Mom, how many subscribers do you have? uh, um, how do you stop 100 calls a day from dispatchers trying to sell their services? Thank you. Great question. I have not found an answer to this because for me, the way I stop it is if it shows spam, you know how sometimes it can show you like the phone number and spam or potential spam, whatever. Depends on my mood. Sometimes I just screen that call. Sometimes I pick up and calmly say, remove me from your list. Sometimes I say very, very mean things. And sometimes I completely blow up. And I still haven't found a way to stop these people from calling me. Enrique, I'm not going to answer that question. I do not talk about politics. Even though I do have an opinion, I am going to keep it to myself. Um, reference for a good company that can take care of random drug and alcohol. Yes, I use DISA, DISA. I have used them since 2019. I absolutely love them. They're reliable. They're always there to answer questions. DISA. Do you think YouTuber drivers are ruining the trucking industry? I'm trying not to place blame on like anyone right now. I don't want to point fingers. I think that there is this one YouTuber I watch. I mean, the way he talks about it, literally, it's like disassociation. He's not a driver, he has a pretty big trucking company. And the way he talks, it's like, are we living in the same universe? Because for him, everything is absolutely perfect. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, for me, it's not perfect. For the folks that I talk to on this channel, they're not perfect. Are we on different planets or what? So I think like if a newcomer is thinking, I just talked about design, I got an email from them. If a new person is looking whether to come into this industry and looks at someone like the person I mentioned on YouTube, they're going to think, hey, this is a place I can make money, and they will come in. And it's not even about the capacity thing, increasing capacity, because we know the new folks have a very hard time working off the load board, and that's where they primarily go when they come in. The problem is the loss of money. I have received so many emails of people coming in and hoping to, get their business going, and then just having expenses, fixed expenses, and not being able to book loads and just going out of business. So that's a problem. Yeah. You look like you need a vacation. I haven't had a vacation in 5 years. I do need a vacation. Yeah, kind of have dark circles under my eyes, like perpetual dark circles. Um, just gonna scroll through a little bit to catch up. Are they having a strike in the ports in New York, New Jersey? I was just in a massive traffic there. I don't know. As far as I know, their contract expires on September 30th, which is why the strike is set for October 1st. Yeah, that's a good point. November 18th, Clearinghouse will report to the DMV 160,000 potential drivers losing CDL. I heard that too. I need to dig into that a little bit. I kind of heard it in passing or read it in passing. Um, car hauler market. Oh, thank you, CA. How's the car haulers market? I don't know. I don't know. I have never been in car hauling, but I can tell you a lot of new CDL holders are trying to get into the car hauling um, side of the business from what I see. But other than that, I don't know anything. um, okay, I'm going to skip over some questions. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just very, very behind. Um, Okay, I can't not answer this. Oh my God. Okay, Joe, you remind me of our CEO. She built her company, Bennett family of companies, from 150 to 1 billion in year. Oh, from your comment to God's ears. I wish. I wish I could be that. um, I am very married. That's true. Married with children. Hi, Michael. J. Joseph, I keep seeing your comment, but I did answer it. DISA, DISA is the one that I use. LTL trucking, I'm not familiar with. I have always been a full truckload carrier. I always try to speak from experience because I feel like theories and theoretical things, they're seldom what the reality actually ends up being. Mm-mm-mm. Thank you. Stephen, thank you. Pronounced my name correctly. Thank goodness. I have an issue with pronunciation. Everyone always corrects me on how I pronounce. Like someone said, Dubuque. I keep saying Dubuque, Iowa, which is more of a French pronunciation. And someone said, you sound like you have marbles in your mouth, something like that. So I'm glad I pronounced your name correctly. Um, yeah, Florida is tough. Wheels and whims. So, sorry guys, я прочитала ваш коммент быстренько, but I'll answer in English so that everyone can understand. In terms of optimization of taxes, the LLC, if you're in California, you have to remember California has one of the highest annual LLC rates, which means that in California, at minimum, to keep an LLC open, you have to, what is it called? You have to pay $800 per year. Now, the LLC is going to protect you if your company is under the LLC and you go bankrupt, God forbid, I'm sorry, but this is the reality. You go bankrupt, you cannot pay the things that you signed up for. They're not going to go after your personal things to take back what you owe them, except trucks. Be careful with financing trucks because usually what the financing company will do is ask you to be a personal guarantor on that truck. So, yeah, I hope I answered your question. QuickBooks is all about chart of accounts. Yes, it is. I hate that tab. I hate it. Again, accounting, not my strong suit. I like, I have my own thing. I mean, I have my own way of doing things, I suppose. She's the exception. Miranda gets $5 per mile on the load board. No, not five, but recently I was talking about how I got, what was the rate? Um, it was that short run because I waited like crazy. With deadhead, it was $4.02 per mile with tarps. But hey. um, do you believe in cold calling? I cold calling was my job when I was a recruiter. That's all I did. Cold calling, cold calling, cold calling. Yes, I do believe it. I do believe in it. I think cold calling is a very, very important thing if you want to expand your network of people you're going to work with. So cold calling is a given when it comes to finding direct shippers and so on and so forth. Even better yet, what you should be doing is going to their offices, because when they see a face, they cannot as easily hang up the phone or turn you away, although some will. The reason I do not go after direct shippers again is because, number one, my company is too small to provide consistent service. It's going to be good, but it's going to be a one-time thing. And number two is because I need to keep my finger on the spot market. I need to know what's going on today, right now, and how it changes every day. People disagree with me on that. This is just the control freak in me. I need to be aware of what the situation is actually like. Ведение компании в Калифорнии в сравнении с другими штатами. Okay, I'm going to again answer in English. California is probably one of the worst places. I know I'm in California, but it's probably one of the worst places to open a business. California, I'm gonna end up having like California government knocking on my door. California hates small businesses with a passion. It hates trucking businesses even more. And they try, now they say it's like, oh, it's just the automated system. It's just a mistake. They try to cheat you out of money any way they can. If it wasn't for my family, I would be gone from the state and I'd never look back. So if you can, don't do it in California. That's my my 2 cents. Yeah. I know I'm in California. I sound like a hypocrite. The only reason I'm here is because I have to be, because family is much more important to me than any amount of money or business. But if you have a choice, don't do it. Thinking of buying a step deck, currently doing flatbed. Am I able to pick up the same loads as flatbed? For the most part, make sure if you have a step deck, we used to have a step deck, and one thing that we kind of overlooked, it had no ramps and no levelers. So in order to be able to pick up pretty much any flatbed load, you need to have levelers that make it level, right? Yeah. Do you like 1 to 3 load board? I tried it in 2019 for about 5 minutes when I was just learning what a load board is and what a load board does. Um, I don't remember much about it. Yeah, Arthur. So I appreciate the conversation we're having, but I'm going to be very, very clear right now. If I see you mentioning OnlyFans one more time, I'm going to block you off this channel. It's as simple as that. Thank you. Yes, user, I'm talking about him. Exactly. Uh, How do you think the rate cuts will impact the trucking industry? I actually made a video about it not so long ago. Um, yeah, I had a whole spiel there about how the rate cuts could affect it. Not by much, basically. Not yet, at least. It's too, even though it was a bigger than expected rate cut, it it's not big enough. I'm gonna skip a little bit. Low volumes everywhere. Over capacity of truck in the market. September and October is usually slow. November, December brings volume. Trucking at this time is just part time. Yeah, yeah, pretty much. It's very hard. I keep saying this. It's very hard for me to predict the market, which is, I think, the thing that really makes me upset is that I don't know anymore. Like, it's okay, Arthur. We had a really good conversation going. Just there's one thing that I do not like. Sorry, I went off topic. Anyway, when someone mentions OnlyFans, it kind of it's just that's the one thing that I don't accept. I understand, no problem. Let's continue our conversation. You had some really awesome points. Anyway, what was I saying? Part-time. Yeah, that one of the most frustrating things about trucking right now is that you think you're going to a good market because you checked everything. I have like a really bad habit of trying to control everything and checking everything. So sometimes I lose loads because I'm too slow. I check everything. You think you're going to a really good market and it changes in transit, and all of a sudden it's a bad one. That's the worst thing. Yeah. Hmm. I love Los Angeles, but I hate the politics here. Yeah, I mean, Los Angeles, I think California is absolutely beautiful. I think it's just not business friendly whatsoever. Yeah, let's see. Navajo is voiding a payment due to us reaching out to the customer, but they are not providing any proof. How would you handle it? Does it say, okay, is there anything Navajo? It's so weird. I haven't worked with them in such a long time, but I used to really like them. Navajo, did they have anything in the rate confirmation saying that if you contact the customer, then you are going to they're going to not pay you? Is there such a thing? Check your rate confirmation. I always go by what's written in the contract, which is the rate confirmation. Let me know. Did you know you're everyone's favorite emo girl? See, I thought I was really good at hiding that. I really thought I was good at hiding the emo girl thing, but I really am. More like goth. I used to be a goth in school. In middle school, I was a goth, full on. Goth slash tomboy. I mean, I stayed a tomboy. Not a goth, but I do enjoy, I always wear black. It's just the color I'm comfortable with. Would you consider letting your company be bought out of by a larger one, ideally letting you have more funding and letting you, sorry. No, absolutely not. I cannot call it bad, call it good. I'm not it's going to sound so bad right now. I am not going to, unless I choose to work for somebody because I'm making that choice, I'm not going to. There's the saying in in Russian. I do speak Russian. Um, like dancing to the it's basically dancing to the beat of someone's drum. Like, no. Does the volume also increase for flatbed in November, December? No, usually not. So November and December, from my experience, have always been pretty tough, number one, but in terms of data, they have been flat. November and December are usually flat because flatbed is very, very much connected to the construction side of things. And construction slows down in the colder months. Sorry, guys, give me 1 second. Okay. Hi from Tennessee. Hi. Can't keep up. Everyone's typing so fast. You're telling me. I skipped a bunch of comments right now because what is it called? Because it happens too fast. Factoring company suggestions. I use RTS. I absolutely love RTS. I have a little, where is it? There it is. Truck from RTS. Love RTS. They have always been very helpful. They have explained everything, and I have been using them for a while, both for the fuel card as well as factoring. Thank you, Donovan. Have I ever dispatched hot shots? No, only semi-trucks. Are you losing weight on purpose, or is I'm not losing weight? I think it's different. I don't know. I'm not losing weight. I don't weigh myself, to be quite honest. I think sometimes I look maybe a little bit more gaunt or something because of the lack of sleep, that's for sure. I don't sleep very well, but that's because the only time I have time for myself is around 10 o'clock in the evening. So I stay up usually until 12 because I don't have enough time for myself. And then I have to wake up at 4:35 a.m. So what you see here is the lack of sleep. Tony, yeah, no, I'm very familiar. We have picked up from ports, but with semi truck, we always get confused in ports. That I mean, there's so many, especially the port of Los Angeles. Geez, Louise, it's insane. We have picked up from ports, but always with flatbeds, pretty much. TQL not paying me for a shortage. They're completely not paying you because you have a shortage. Okay, so one thing, I think this is a very, very good piece of advice that we have been following, and I have mentioned it several times. Whenever you get loaded, doesn't matter what kind of equipment you have, reefer, van, flatbed, hotshot, doesn't matter. The moment you get loaded, take photos of the loaded product. Right before you get unloaded, take photos of the product that's about to get unloaded. Always, because this has saved us from claims, shortages, and damages each and every time. Just make it a habit. Yeah. There is this thing, I think it's called the Carmack Law. Carmack Law. Hold on. Let me just double check that it is. Or Carmack Amendment. I very much recommend for everyone to just read in detail what the Carmack Amendment states, because that is going to keep you safe every single time. This is how we got out of a claim once. Sorry, one of my gentlemen's. Guys, I'm so sorry. I guess there is an issue with the load. So I am going to have, you know how it happens. I'm going to have to jump. Ugh, great. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me today. I didn't expect for me to have to jump off the live so abruptly, but I appreciate all of you. And I'm hoping to do another live soon. And that way, I will answer your questions. Thank you again, guys.